Welcome to the shocking painting and decorating scams you need to know. The first one is that in places where the contractor can get away with it, it's quite common for them just to put on one coat. So in many areas where they can't get away with it, there's two, but on a lot of wall surfaces and kind of things, they put one. And they do this for a surprising reason. It may sort of look like they're doing it just for less work, but they're also doing it so it doesn't last as long and they need to be called back so they get the job sooner. Now, I've seen this a lot, but where I've really seen it a lot, sadly, is public sector work, where it just kind of isn't monitored to the same degree, compared to when it's someone's own home and they take pride in it and they can see and they really look at the work. Now, how do you spot this? A painted wall should pop. The colour should be perfect. You can really see it come out. And if you look at the wall and you go, yeah, I can see it's painted, but it doesn't pop at you, there may only be one coat. The second one involves paint kettles. Now, paint kettles are a good idea. This is one. Basically, the painter and decorator should buy the largest tin size possible because it's cheaper to get it in larger quantities. But if you're carrying around a 10-litre sort of paint tin, or even a 5-litre one, it might spill, and when it's open, it's evaporating. So you put it into a paint kettle, which also you can put the top on. Now the problem is, you're probably not going to look in the paint kettle. So sometimes dodgy painters and decorators thin the paint down. White spirit for oil-based and water for water-based. And so they can really thin it down quite a bit and far too much. And then what they do is they keep the other paint, they resell the other paint, they do another job, and maybe that didn't even cost them anything for the paint because they've done that from yours. So how do you tell? Well, when you look at the roller or the brush, if it just looks a bit too thin, like it's not sticking to it properly, then they might have done that. Now with masticated paint, which is the thicker paint, it's harder to tell, but maybe they've used that even more to thin it down further. Now we're getting really dodgy, and this is the one that's used when the painter decorator is kind of hidden on the scaffolding or things are just hidden away, and basically they get the quality paint that they should be using. I like Leyland Trade. Dulux is great, but you are paying for the branding, but it's great paint and I use it on a lot of jobs. And they just swap it for a rubbish cheaper one, which doesn't cost nearly as much, doesn't last as long, and so on. And I've seen that, sadly, and it's especially on big jobs, again less for household jobs where people are monitoring. Now the last one is one that really grates a lot of customers. A lot of customers tell me about it, and to be frank, it's also very commonplace, and I'd love to know your comments below because it's very debatable. And that's basically that the painter decorator comes with the paint, they don't use it all, and instead of leaving it there so the customer can use it at a later time or for a touch-up at a future time, they take it away. And the customer feels that they paid for a 5-litre, the painter decorator only used 3 litres and they're taking 2 litres away. And is this dodgy? Well, I think it depends how you sold the job. If you sold the job with a price including the materials, this is for painting a room, and you haven't even sort of told the customer what's paint and what isn't, then that's fair enough, it's part of the job. But if you've broken down that this is the labour, these are the tins of paint, this is what they cost, and you take them away, not quite so much. Borderline is sort of, here's the labour, here's the paint, and then they can kind of see that you've made a markup on it. Personally, I go for the most transparent possible. I go, here's the labour, here's the paint, and I do put a little bit on top for the cost and admin of buying it. If you want to buy it yourself, there won't be that cost of an admin. And about 20% of the time or 25% of the time, especially when the customer lives in an apartment, they actually want me to take it away. They haven't got room for it. So please do say your thoughts. I'm sure there's loads of other scams out there which I haven't heard of. Those are the ones that have come up for me a lot. Please do subscribe. Lots of great videos coming, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.